Welcome to the 30th anniversary show. So this is a last minute kind of interview, so it's going to go back in 1998, what we're going to be talking about. So my special guest is Ethan Berry. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a backside of the story. So you guys remember the great and powerful Dark Angel who used to produce shows here? Well, not in this studio because way back when. You know what I mean, way back when. So Eric Malberg and Kathy Wise pointed Angel to, all I got these backyard wrestlers back here in Fort Wayne that's dangerous and all kinds of stuff. And Dark Angel seen something in me. He's like, oh, this guy should go to Indies. And now, the reason why we're doing this interview is because, for one, I never got to interview his dad. I got to, or grandpa, sorry. I'm feeling the presence of him. I don't know if you are now, but of your grandpa. So we were just talking, and Dark Angel wanted to have a last night with me. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because, I mean, we still talked, but his health was going downhill. And he wanted me to be his last match, but I ended up talking and meeting, I never met his daughter, but I talked to her over the phone and talked to her online, and next thing you know, I said, well, I got a son that's interested in wanting to be a professional wrestler, so here's my guest, Ethan. How's it going, man?
I'm doing good, yeah, my grandpa was working with Jeff and many others over the years. He unfortunately passed in 2013, but him being a pro wrestler, it runs in the lineage, it runs in my blood, and this is something that I've always wanted to do. So I'm currently in training right now at Congo Kong's Wrestling Academy up in Bluffton. If you guys haven't heard of him, just search him up on YouTube or anything. You'll be impressed with some of the work he's put in. But he's done a good job training me. I've been getting my foot in the door in many ways possible, and over the years, I didn't think that this would be possible, but, because of reaching out to Jeff pointed me to Congo Kong, and now Congo Kong is my teacher, so I want to thank you for that, Jeff. And
anytime, man.
Congo Kong, you're watching this video, I want to thank you for that as well, because, all the training that you've given me so far, it's really made an impact on my life this last few months, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for me, and I'm hoping, my grandpa's looking down and he's proud on what I have set in mind, the goals I'm ready to achieve coming as a pro wrestler.
Oh, I'm sure, like I said, it's crazy, we were just talking before the interview, that, through the generations of me doing, like I started back in 98, and you got me training to doing wrestling with Bonnie Hunter, Jay, and Phil, and Bobo Brazil Jr., and speaking of Junior, Bruiser Jr., we worked with a couple weeks ago, and I've worked with him, and I've worked with Malachi, and they all worked with their grandpa. Yeah. So it's kind of crazy on how it's like a full circle, because we all got to work together on that same exact show, but nobody knew about it but me and you.
Oh yeah.
And then I was after he's like, oh hey, I'm Jeff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know who you are. I'm like, again, seeing so many people, I feel bad because I didn't realize it was you. I'm Ethan, we've talked before, and oh crap. So that's when Chris was like looking, so that's when I'm like, oh wow. So that whole day, I was like, this is awesome, this is phenomenal.
Yes.
So I was like, wow. So, I do want to thank you for taking your time out, because I know this is probably your first ever TV interview.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Full circle, baby.
There's a first time for everything, right?
Yep. And again, I wanted to lead you to the right places like your grandpa did, because again, your grandpa was hard on me like crazy. I mean, if I didn't listen, he'd drill it in me. I'm sure Steve does the same thing too.
Oh, 100%, yes. If I'm not doing something right in training, he'll make sure to constantly remind me. These last couple of practices I went to, I was training, and, I wasn't quite getting it down, but, Steve was he was constantly hard on me. He's like, hey, this is how you do it, this is how you do it. And he was doing it in a good way, in a constructively criticizing way. And before you know it, yesterday I was finally able to get it down perfectly, well, almost perfectly, and Steve was pretty happy, and, I was pretty happy with this. So Steve is very constructive with his criticism, and he does a very good job of holding me accountable to what I need to work on. So.
He was doing it for forever. Like I've known Steve back in early 2000s. I met him through Tim, which is Bruiser Jr. Again, it's like a circle going around. But yeah, I worked with him before when Steve was Osiris and stuff. But it's crazy. Again, being a professional wrestler, what drove you to, hey, I want to do this? besides, you know, not only the family, but, you know.
Well, before I even knew who my grandpa was, you know, I didn't quite know him my whole life. It wasn't until the last few years I, you know, met him, got to know him and stuff like that. But before all that, you know, when I was a little kid, I'd just be playing like WWE games and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, this is kind of interesting. And then as the years grew by, my love for pro wrestling just grew and grew. And at first, when I was elementary and middle school, I wanted to be a pro wrestler. High school came around, you know, I kind of lost interest in that. But, you know, being in the real world, I'm like, hey, I still love pro wrestling. Let's go give it a shot. And I feel like I'm doing pretty good at it for only being in the business for a couple of months. Just whatever role I'm given, I do what I'm told, and that's that. And I just keep improving every day.
I'm sure you hear the golden rule, always bring your gear.
Oh, 100%,
Always
yes.
bring your
I had to
gear.
find that out the hard way last Saturday, but that's a mistake I'll never make again.
So, yeah, like I said, it's a small world because now we're connected. Now, I want to do this interview with you because it just seems right because my 30th anniversary show was about a retirement to do a tag match, but since things got this wrong because of the whole wrestling ordeal, next year we're doing this. Now, I know you're green and brand new to the whole thing with learning how to referee. Would you be willing to referee this match with me and my boys?
I am 100% willing to. I will have to talk to my teacher about that first. That ultimately is up to him because, you know, anything that I do in the square circle, he makes the final call on. So, but if he's okay with it, yes, 100%, I will referee that match happily. And just, yeah, like I said, it's up to Congo Kong if he wants me to ref that match.
It'll be next year, it'll be next year.
It would be next year,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah, next year, you know, plenty of time for me to improve in between then, but, you know, me being in his class, he makes the final call, and I have to respect that, so.
No, I completely get it,
Yeah.
because I'm sure he'll let you, because I've known him for years. Also, what also seems kind of fit is, I wouldn't mind, not trying to bring up the whole cliche of the whole finished story thing with Cody Rhodes, but I kind of do have some unfinished business with, your part of the family, because your grandpa was requesting me for the last match back then. And I think it would be kind of cool if we maybe face each other down the road in a couple of years.
I think that would be awesome. I 100% would be down to do that, you know. Finish the business that you and my grandpa never got started, yes, that would be, I'm 100% down to do that.
Because I thought about that, I was like, man, because I remember it was on Facebook, he was like, I want to have my last match with you. And I was like, shocked, because I was like, really? Because he seen something in me, and, you know, I don't know what it was, but I was like, wow. And when we were talking, I was like, man, that would also be an awesome story. So I got 3 more matches left in me. This one, me and him, and another one to be announced. So the third one will be my last and final match. So that's kind of why I kind of want the top 3. So, yeah, before we end this interview, but here's a picture of me and Dark Angel back in 1998 at the National Guard Armory, so take a look at that photo. And then take a look at me and him. Actually, when I first met, I was like, dude, let's take a picture together. And I sent him, he's got pictures of it too. I haven't yet to post it on Facebook, but I'm going to post it on Facebook. It's kind of crazy. We all share the same ring together. Not the same ring, but we all shared a ring together.
Yep, full circle. It's just mind-blowing, just that, you know, me and my grandpa passing a couple of years ago. You know, some of those guys had no idea, hey, I'm his grandson, and then you realize, I'm like, wow, that's kind of mind-blowing. So, yes, I think that is incredible, too, that all those guys I was sharing the ring with, my grandpa worked with, and then there's you, who I knew. Yeah, it's just crazy when you think about it, just the lineage and the bloodline and stuff, but that's just how it be sometimes, you know?
So, you know, your grandpa accomplished a lot. Again, I know I'm not trying to say it's all about your grandpa, because it's about you as well. What kind of legacy do you want to live on being a professional wrestler? Because I know your grandpa was a manager and everything else. He did a couple of wrestling matches. What is your main goal for professional wrestling? I know he's looking down on you, smiling and happy, but you get what I'm saying. What's your main goal for this?
You know, whether I stay in the indies on the small scene or I get to the big scene one day, just do what I love and, you know, have fun. That's really all pro wrestling is to me, just something I love and I have fun when I'm doing it. As long as I'm doing that, you know, that's primary. Everything else I feel would be secondary. So just stick to the important things of the business and have fun, and next thing you know, I can say I lived one hell of a life, but other than that, I ain't got much to say. Just, yeah.
I got one more question. As everybody who's ever been in professional wrestling, not who's inspired you, because we already know who's inspired you, Steve and your grandpa, we already know that, we covered that. Who is your dream opponent?
Unfortunately, because he'll be retiring, it will never happen, but John Cena would be my dream opponent, because, you know, that was my childhood hero, my favorite wrestler growing up, so I think it would be awesome if I could have a, you know, a pro wrestling match with him one day, but since he's retiring and going to the Hollywood scene, I know it's not going to happen officially, but at least as far as I know, but that would be my dream opponent. You know, there's plenty of other opponents I'd like to face, like maybe Randy Orton or, you know, somebody like Rey Mysterio. You know, those guys, very awesome workers. I think that I'd like to work with them one day if, you know, I get to that level. But, you know, specifically my dream match would be John Cena, but it is what it is. He's retiring next year, and, you know, it sucks, but he's happy, and, you know, as long as he finishes the career he wants to, then it's all that matters.
What about independent?
Independent wrestling, I would like to wrestle you, Congo Kong, Eric Surge, and Nelson Edward Robert Doolittle the Fifth, aka Node the Fifth. I would love to wrestle all those guys. Those guys really seem to they seem to know what they're doing in the ring, and I can trust them, you know, some of them being my classmates and stuff too. So I think it would be awesome if I could just, on the independent scene, work with them as well.
That's awesome. So, see you guys later, and thank you very much for your time and your dedication.